Did you hear about Joe Biden's laughable visit to Arizona? Well, if not, I'm going to show it to you because I got to tell you, if you're a Biden fan, if you're a Democrat, and you believe that this guy is going to be the next president of the United States, you better think again. So, Joe Biden, excuse me, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris come to Arizona, and you would think it's big fanfare, right? We've got a hot Senate race between Mark Kelly and Martha McSally. You've got a state that supposedly is it purple turning blue because the Democrats have targeted it. They've already got Kristen Sinema as one of the senators. We've got a rhino governor in Ducey. So you think, boy, they're going to put a lot of focus on this particular state. And they did. They're starting their Soul of the Nation tour right here in Arizona. And I hadn't heard a peep. I live here, so I was curious. Well, Joe Biden and Harris had an event, and the only way I know how to show it to you without getting my whole team on it is to just show you the clip. But here's the clip of Joe Biden and Harris coming to Arizona and all the fanfare that went with it.
Yeah, good afternoon, Daytona and Andrew. Hi, it's kind of warm out here actually, but we're right outside of the Herd Museum where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and their motorcade arrived at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. They are meeting with several tribal leaders here at the Herd Museum, and not a lot of fanfare out here. There's really not much to see. I'll step out of the way, but it's
no need
out here. So it's not your typical presidential campaign event. We don't see people rallying outside. We don't see signs or really much of what's going on. And I'm told by one of the Biden staffers, local staffers, is that they kind of kept the details about the visit as far as the timing and the exact locations. They didn't really want to give that out to the public because they want to keep the crowds.
Can't do that.
They realize we are in a pandemic and they don't want a crowd of more than 50 people at any of their events.
Success.
So they're right now here at the Herd Museum in Central Phoenix meeting with tribal leaders. And pretty much all the people that we saw enter into the parking lot about 45 minutes ago
Check this.
With the Biden-Harris campaign and the poll reporters. So you would expect to see, I mean, this is a pretty big event for the two of them to be campaigning together for the first time since the Democratic National Convention here in Arizona. We've established, our state has established itself as a battleground state. And so this is technically a big event, but not a lot of fanfare. So we're getting information about what's going on with these meetings from our national correspondent pool reporters, but from out here, you really can't tell anything much is going on. So there is this stop here, the meeting with the tribal leaders that's going on
this
right
stop.
now. And later this afternoon, they're expected to launch their Soul Nation
there we go.
bus tour right out here, right out of Phoenix. And Biden and Harris, we're told, are going to be traveling separately, just
for safety
as a
reasons,
precaution because of COVID. So they won't be both be on the bus, but they'll be participating in this bus tour. And it's a rather large bus. We haven't seen it pull up here to the Herd Museum yet.
Big bus.
It was in Window Rock, Flagstaff, and Sedona yesterday.
3 locations.
It's supposed to be here in Phoenix right around now, and they're going to be visiting
a lot of hoopla coming.
Owners in Phoenix and in Tempe, and reaching out to voters later this afternoon as well. But again, the Biden-Harris campaign not releasing a lot of details about where these events are taking place and exactly when, because they say they want to keep the crowds down.
The crowd.
They want to be cautious because of COVID-19. So basically, we're kind of just going to be following the bus tour as it goes along Phoenix and Tempe later on today. But like I said, this is a huge event.
Huge.
But you can't tell by the outside of the Herd Museum. There's really not a lot going on here. Back to you guys.
Right, Nicole. I don't live too far from the Herd Museum, and you'd expect a lot of police commotion and bystanders and well-wishers, but didn't see any of that.
Not much of that.
So you're confirming that.
So I'm going to stop this because I got to tell you, this is one of the funniest. Got to stop here, buddy. So here's the deal. We got a battleground state. Biden and Harris show up. They tell us, or the news reports that, well, they didn't really want the crowds because of COVID. What a convenient excuse to not want the crowds that were not coming anyway. And I love how she says, oh yeah, all the people that went in were the staffers and the Secret Service. In other words, there weren't, I joke that there are dozens of people that follow Biden everywhere he goes. There aren't even dozens of people that follow Biden. And I love how she talks about the campaign won't tell us much because they want to keep the crowds to a minimum. Hey, listen, campaign, put it out there. I've made the challenge on my radio show, the KevinJacksonShow.com. I say, let Biden go mano a mano with President Trump, and let's see who draws the bigger crowds anywhere. I tell you, they could throw an event here in Arizona with the top Democrat politicians, and they couldn't get 100 people to show up to see Biden. There's no way. Or Harris. So they're going to take separate buses because of COVID. They're going to take separate buses because it's a smart thing to do. You would take separate buses, so you'd have two people campaigning instead of, one stop. You'd have, both people splitting up and doing it. Now, in the real world, they could come together and those crowds would be even bigger. That's what theoretically your VP should do. It should bolster your ticket. It didn't with Trump, no offense to Mike Pence, but Trump doesn't need it. And it didn't with Biden because Harris is a horrible VP. So what do you think these stops are going to create? These buses have stopped at 3 locations in Arizona. Not a news story, nothing. They're doing a Soul of the Nation tour. Why? Just so the bus can go down the street, or are they trying to get people to show up? Because if you're trying to get people to show up, you tell people where they are. The Soul of the Nation tour, they know it's in 3 locations. They know 2 additional ones are happening in Arizona. And you know what's going to happen there, Democrats? I'm just telling you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Nobody will be there. Nobody cares about Biden. So how does that jive with the polls? I keep doing these videos. I did a video on why Trump will win. I did a video on why Biden will lose. I know it sounds like the same thing, but I'm giving you reasons why Joe Biden has no potential to win. He couldn't win this presidency if he had 10 tries at it. And then you get a news report like this in Arizona, a battleground state. These people have been announcing, we're coming to Arizona, coming to Arizona. All of us have known they're coming to Arizona. You know how insignificant Biden is? Nobody from the Trump campaign even went out to say, boo, Biden, boo. That's how insignificant he is. So look, these are just signs. I don't care what you do with them. But in a state like Arizona, a state that he definitely needs to win. And I was at a rally here, by the way, with President Trump, where probably 8,000 to 10,000 people showed up. I did media, and it was packed. People were in the overflow area as well. And going into the event, there were thousands of people lined up. Look, if you're concerned about COVID, that's fine. The Wu flu, I don't call it COVID, but if you're concerned about Wu flu, fine. But did you see anybody lined up in that street, on the street? Did you see anybody that was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him, Biden Harris signs or anything leading into it? That has nothing to do with the Wu flu. People lined up on the streets, getting the motor, saying hello to the motorcade as it goes in. That is typical Donald Trump. Anywhere he goes, he lands at an airport, there's thousands of people waiting to greet him. Nobody there to greet Joe Biden. So if the Democrats think that they're going to steal this election with ballots, with unmarked ballots and all kinds of stuff, let me tell you, you're going to have a fight on your hands, because there is no enthusiasm, nothing for this campaign. And that pretty much proves it, at least in Arizona. I don't believe that's going to be any different anywhere they go. I'm out.